Dr. Scott, are you with us?
I'm with you. Great to be with you, Ken.
Oh, now that is a freaking cool background. Okay, Daniel Kraft generally has a really good one. You just did it. What are we looking at? What is that?
Welcome to my office, gentlemen. This is the forward flight deck of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. Unfortunately, I'm grounded. I'm here on planet Earth, currently in Phoenix, but this kind of brings me back. So.
Okay, so it brings you back, but a lot has changed in that space. First, let's just make sure everyone understands. How many times have you been around the planet Earth, do you think?
Gosh, yeah, over 1,000 orbits, 23 million miles, about 2 months in space, over 5 space shuttle missions. Yep.
And you went up with John Glenn too, right?
I was incredibly honored to be his personal physician on a mission called STS-95. He came back at age 77 to fly again, and it was, you know, the honor of my life to share the cosmos with him. It was awesome.
I mean, we all have really unique jobs. It's a job, but when it crosses over from a job to a passion with a real purpose, it has a unique type of flavor that's really hard to explain, because your job has such purpose and passion. When there's only a handful of people on the planet that's ever been able to see the planet the way you have. So your job is also to share with us the things you do and inspire us too, because we want our kids and maybe ourselves to do what you're doing so we can see the world as it is. What inspired you to go in that direction of becoming an astronaut?
Well, first off, it was a real gift, and quite honestly, if I had food on the table, I probably would have done it for free. It's such a life-changing experience. And what's so exciting today is that we're at the advent of this brand new industry of commercial human spaceflight. Companies like Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, Blue Origin are going to make it possible for many, many more people, including probably many of you here online today, to take those, it may be a short suborbital space flight, but it will change your life forever. But for me, I grew up in the shadow of the Apollo program. My dad worked on the Saturn V boosters that first took astronauts to the moon in the late 60s, early 70s. So, that was kind of, every kid on the block wanted to be an astronaut. Most of them kind of grew out of that ambition, but I'm very tenacious and resilient, and I just kind of kept on charging. I had to get there, and fortunately, in '92, I got hired for the job, and yeah.
Daniel Kraft saying, "Scott's a legend. He's, Daniel Kraft is your cheerleader."
I owe you, buddy.
Were you just doing? Wait a second. What were you doing there? I guess you want Daniel to do a lap dance. Don't do that. All right.
So let's talk about that. No one wants to see that.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that. No, not at all. So let's just talk about the industry as today. Is really the champion out there is Elon Musk? Is he the one that really is exciting this younger generation to want to go into space?
Well, I think there are a number of entrepreneurs that are trying to do this. So Jeff Bezos for Blue Origin, Richard Branson with Virgin Galactic, and then obviously with the recent success of SpaceX, having this incredible voyage to the International Space Station with a couple of my buddies, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, making a round trip in the first crewed Dragon. Incredible stuff. But NASA is still a big part of the future as well. Can we get back to the moon to stay? Can we go colonize Mars? Can we go places beyond? And so, I think kids are still, aspiring to want to fly in space, and there's going to be a place for many, many more people, hardworking, bright kids studying math and science. There's a role for them, for sure.
What's real darkness like?
There's no way to capture it in emulsion. I'm sure you've been to 3D IMAX. You've seen, pictures of, launches in the space station, and the intensity of the blue of our oceans, and then an attempt to render the blackness of space, punctuated by trillions and trillions of stars. But the contrast is just, it's stunning. Carl Sagan talked about billions and billions of stars, but there are actually trillions and trillions of them, and you can look out into the the beginnings of time, really. Looking back 13.7 billion years, and if you really get your eyes dark accommodated, you know, you turn off all the lights inside the space shuttle at night, you're just blown away. There's no way to capture it other than the way you capture it in your soul.
And doing a spacewalk, I mean, obviously you experience zero gravity when you're in the space shuttle, but when you go outside the space shuttle, do you feel, is it a scary feeling? Is it an empowering feeling? What's it like when you're out there?
Well, as a trained astronaut, the thing you're most scared of is screwing up. You know, there's a lot on the line. You've trained a lot for it, and many people are watching. So you're really focused on doing what you're out there to do. But you're in your own personal spaceship. So engineered around you is a spaceship. You know, it's protection from the elements, the vacuum of space, the temperature extremes. You've got oxygen delivery, CO2 removal, battery power, radios, cameras, tools, jet backpack. So you're actually, you know, floating inside this spacesuit, and you just have a thin visor between you and the enormity of the universe, and it's just unbelievable. But you realize, oh my God, I've got to, if I don't fix this solar panel the right way, you know, the future of the space.
It's all mission based. You're very focused on the mission.
You have your game face on. But then you've got a moment to take a breather, and you look up, and there's the Great Barrier Reef, or the Bahamas, or you know, or the boot of Italy. You know, it's staggering, staggering.
Gosh. Okay. Rapid fire questions. You don't have to dive into them, but let's just ask a couple of questions. First,
right.
When you return to space, what's it like feeling gravity again?
You feel like a 100-year-old man. Got the weight of your spacesuit plus your own body weight that you haven't felt for a while.
Okay.
Yep.
Going to the bathroom. Come on, you got to tell us. How do you do it?
I'd rather not demonstrate, but it's quite similar to you know, the way it works here on Earth. The only thing is you can't have free-floating liquids or solids in a weightlessness environment. So there's actually a lot of vacuum outside of the ship. So that's what you take advantage of. There's a hose with a male or a female adapter for urination, and then there's kind of a trap door that you open up. And you make sure you have a really good seal. Otherwise, it's not such a pleasant experience.
And is there smell on the space shuttle? When you're there, do you smell things?
Intensely, yeah. In fact, you know, the circulation, yeah. Well, here in a gravity environment, stuff falls to the ground, and so dust and everything can be swept up eventually. In a microgravity environment, there's particulate all through the air, and we have a cabin air cleaner that eventually sweeps all that up, and HEPA filtration and things of that nature. But absolutely, your sense of smell is intense. The only distinction I would say is the first couple of days in spaceflight, you have a fluid shift in your body that occurs, and so you have kind of a puffy face and a runny nose, and so typically we like to have much spicier foods up in space.
Oh, that makes sense. You guys had bad hair too, just observation-wise.
Big hair, big hair.
Big hair. Yeah. There's no good hair days. It's always bad hair days.
No,
it looks like.
No, yeah, that's right.
So let's go with the craziest stuff. We had Paul Hynek on last week. His father, of course, is notorious for UFOs and things like that. Your thoughts? Yeah, you seen something? You want to see it? You don't believe it? What's your thoughts?
I think it's an important philosophy in life. You have to have an open mind. Always keep an open mind. So I unfortunately, guys, have never seen a little green men. I've not seen alien spacecraft. One funny thing that I did see, though, just for a brief instant, I thought this could get interesting. We just undocked with the Russian space station Mir. We're flying over Kazakhstan at night, and there was actually a rocket launch from Kazakhstan, the Baikonur Cosmodrome. And it looked like they were firing a missile directly at the space shuttle. Of course, it was hundreds of miles away, and we were never in any peril. But I thought, well, this is kind of an out-of-body experience. But getting back to the kind of life in the universe theme, I absolutely believe that there's life elsewhere in the universe. I do not believe that we've been visited, but you're probably aware that there are thousands and thousands of characterized exoplanets. These are planets that orbit faraway star systems. And so the conditions for life, if you know anything about statistics, absolutely have to exist around some of these faraway star systems. So I
Yeah,
think it's possible even in our own
you
solar
want
system
it.
we could find it. What's that?
Yeah, we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be
Right.
alone. So
Right.
we just had Harry on. I'm not sure if you got to see Harry. This guy looks pretty damn good for 62. Okay,
Oh,
don't
Harry,
want to
yes,
mess
Harry
with
Rock.
him.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I'm not going to
He
do the
looks
peck
great.
thing, though. I'm sorry. I,
No,
I,
no,
I
no.
work a lot, but I'm not going to do the peck thing. Sorry, Harry. No
Yeah,
one
but
wants.
what you got to think, but what you got to think about is when he watches any movies that have martial arts, and he goes, "Oh yeah, no, that no," right? He's got to be the biggest critic when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah,
So for you, when you watch movies that deal with space,
right.
like Gravity or anything like that, do you go, "No"? Or is there anything that was dead on? Is there a movie that just almost killed it?
Well, I'll tell you the whole spectrum. So the best movie of all time, yeah, for rendering and also the passion, I thought was Apollo 13. And in fact, a lot of that was actually filmed in weightlessness. They used parabolic flight and actually had some of the sequences actually filmed in weightlessness. It was beautifully done. If you talk to Jim Lovell, he'll tell you that they didn't Hollywood that up. That was actually, what happened, the way it happened, the motions and so on. But and then the other end of the spectrum is Armageddon. I hope none of our audience here was
Bruce
responsible
Willis
for
is
that
here
movie.
right now.
Yeah.
Damn
I'm
it.
sorry, Bruce, but yeah, that one is. It's not like that. I'm sorry.
It's not like that. And,
No.
and Gravity, not close?
Well,
Or
so I love Gravity. It suspended disbelief once you got into it. The opening sequence is just so powerful. The view overlooking the Earth. I mean, it kind of got me in the heart. And then you see George Clooney zooming around in an MMU and all sorts of stuff zooming around, and the physics really missed it substantially. But it's a great story. It gets people excited about space. So I love the movie, even though it's not a good rendering of spaceflight.
so there is a patent that's out there by the US military, specifically the Navy, for an anti-gravity device. It's out there. You could actually research it. You could see the information. You're shaking your head. You know about that, right?
I've seen some media on it. I don't know anything about the technical aspects of it.
I want you to think if we were able to produce an anti-gravity space here on Earth, what would we do with that? Could that be a life-changing opportunity, or is it more of a novelty?
Well, I think we sort of have it already in different forms. And so the way we prepare to go into space, we can't turn off the G's and go into this anti-gravity environment that you described, but we can use virtual reality. NASA was a pioneer in VR. We get neutrally buoyant in the largest swimming pool in the world called the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, and we practice all of our spacewalks. We use parabolic flight.
That was an Armageddon, by the way, and that was real.
Correct.
I just want to let you know,
That part
okay?
was, you got it, Ken. But no, so we have to synthesize from different training environments what we're going to be doing we call it upstairs, but what we're going to do up in space. And so there are plenty of things we can do here on Earth. If you've ever been to iFly, just indoor skydiving, there are lots of different ways you can experience moving in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, but Scott, maybe I'm talking to you more like a doctor then. Wouldn't it be great for burn patients if they were in anti-gravity, or to manufacture ball bearings so they could be perfect, or certain types of medicine that gravity affects? We can transform things if gravity was eliminated, right?
Absolutely, and so there are efforts to use the microgravity of space, say the International Space Station, as a factory for certain pharmaceuticals, other types of advanced, say silicon wafer, gallium arsenide types of computer chips. So there may actually be some real opportunity to leverage pure weightlessness like that.
2 more questions. Helium-3, are you aware of it?
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't we hear a lot about it, and why aren't we mining it properly on asteroids and on the moon and places like that?
Well, the genesis of this interest in it is for cold fusion. So if we could really harness fusion of atoms in a particular way, we could actually have essentially limitless power. And so there's a large amount of this out on the moon and probably other, planetary bodies in our solar system. And so it's an exciting, I'd say, theoretical opportunity right now. There's a fusion reactor in France that's being built right now. It's only been done sort of in small experiments thus far, but France is kind of the leader in terms of trying to harness that kind of energy.
It seems like if we could do some mining on the moon, that's the next billionaires and trillionaires are the ones that could figure a way to bring that back.
Could be.
Yeah. And the last, your book. So
Yeah.
Some people say writing a book is really hard. Was it?
One of the hardest things I've ever done, actually. So I thought, well, I've got all these anecdotes. I'll give myself 6 months, 3.5 months, 3.5 years later, rather. I finished The Sky Below. I'm really proud of the book. It's a book not just of my many adventures in life that have taken me to the top of Mount Everest, inside an active volcano, down to Antarctica, beneath our oceans. I've done some really, really cool expeditions in the name of science and innovation. I'm an entrepreneur as well. So I wanted to share my high points, but also kind of the resilience that it takes, the struggles that you have to overcome to get to those places. And so I encourage folks to check it out. It's kind of a neat story.
Can we put the link inside from Amazon, guys? Put it inside the chat so we can get that book ordered. And I got to tell you last thing, and that is, we talked earlier about the blue zones. People live over 100 years old, and purpose is one of the most important. You live in a world where it's, how do I describe it? Your highs are insanely high. So when you come back to Earth, how do you regulate yourself to where you don't face the lows, because you have extremely highs, the highest you could ever imagine? How do you regulate yourself?
Actually, I would say that my bucket list has never been fuller. I'm really drawn to challenge. It's not just extreme adventure, but how can we innovate ourselves around the COVID crisis, as Daniel has been talking about. I have some innovations in that space, and also in surgical robotics and drone flight control and things like that. But my mind is always kind of churning. How can I be part of the solution? Because if you're not working to be part of the solution, you're probably part of the problem. For me, I'm always, my adventures don't have to be on some faraway mountain, but it could be something as relating to inventing new technologies. And so I'm as exhilarated about life as I've ever been.
It'd be nice if you can. It'd be great to have you do a breakout with us where we spend some more detailed time together and really talk about this, and also where the opportunities are, where us as a community can help you out on where you're going. And I know that Harry could probably teach you some cool martial arts.
I know he could. I know he could. For it, yeah.
Scott, I really appreciate your time. Can we get you back on in the future?
I'd love to, Ken. I really love the energy of this community. I've really enjoyed the talks this morning. So thanks for inviting me.